correcting this area that I had wrong before. There was no sense of depth of field, so I'm trying to add a little bit of depth of field to it, which is what I had on another one that I did. I did a studio painting of this one, and this was plein air, and for some reason I didn't see it when I first painted it. I thought it was good the way it was, but that's the good thing about it. You put it away, then you come back with fresh eyes to look at it, and you get a whole different perspective on it. You get to see, errors that were made, and you can come back and correct them. I'm using Michael Hardin oils right now because they're really thick and they have a lot of pigment in them, so I can really lay down paint and not have to go back and forth trying to get what I want. These paints are fantastic. Not cheap, but worth every cent. They have a good coverage. You don't have to go back and keep adding paint just to get what you need. I mean, basically, you lay it down and it gives you exactly what you need. So I try to invest. If I sell a painting, most of the time, the money goes into paints. I think in the last year, every painting that I sold was invested into some other art supply, basically. But I don't know. I've had friends of mine that have businesses and they make money and they go spend money in things that are not business related to me. Even when I ran my business for 2 years, my first good check that I got, basically from a good account, I went and bought some printers and stuff for the business. That's how I see it. Not that later on you can't buy something for yourself, but the business is first. I mean, basically that now is your bread and butter. Now this is a hobby for me, and if I sell, it's awesome, but it's not something I depend on. But at the same time, if you want you want to use good materials, and if you don't want to use the money that you make, that you use for bills also, this is a good way to do it. So basically, you sell something, invest it. Don't blow it on something else. Basically, invest it in what you're doing. I mean, that's my opinion, of course. I'm not telling you guys you have to do that. I'm just telling you the way I see things and the way I've done things in the past too. But it worked for me, especially when I was running my business for 3 years. I invested whatever I could. I mean, that's basically how I got more things and more things I bought that that would benefit the business. The more accounts I could work with, because I had the materials that I needed to take care of that. So, but doesn't mean that I didn't sometimes bought what I needed for me. Greedy stuff, that's what I call it. But I did. I mean, basically, especially when I had bad days, man, when I had clients that made me see red, I made myself happy after the account was done by spending on something nice, either going to get a really good steak, and I don't mean just a regular steakhouse, but a 5-star one where you came out of there spending about $100 on just a steak itself. But hey, that's, like I said, guilty pleasures, basically after working so hard in an account that you really worked your butt off. And what I mean by that, I had since I had my own business, basically, to get more clients, I was available to them 24/7. And I had clients waking me up at 3 in the morning because they had a great idea and they had to wake up to tell me. So I didn't care. I basically woke up and took care of them. But at the same time, some of them, oh man, they were outrageous. They would drive you insane. But that's how you keep clients. Basically, you please them. You let them know that they're number one, and whatever they need, they're gonna get. Same thing for painting. I mean, basically, when I do commissions, whatever the client wants, I'm gonna give them. And if it doesn't work, they'll see it. But I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do what they requested, and let them figure it out, whether it works or not. Most of them will see it, and then I'll go back and change it. That's the beauty about oils. You can go back and change whatever you've done. That's not going to really affect what you're doing. Let it dry and go fix it, but don't tell your client it doesn't work, because they have to see it. A collector has to see it. You can't tell them that's not going to work. That it's not going to work for them. You're telling them that something cannot be done because it's not going to work, whether it's color-wise or composition-wise. No, you don't tell them. You let them see it. Then you change it. You go back, let it dry, and you change it. Basically, that's the reason why they're your clients. They're the ones spending the money on your paintings. By the way, I never work on a dry canvas, so I put a little bit of liquid in this one to basically, right now I'm not working on dry. If you work on dry, you get nothing but dry brush, and sometimes it's good, but not all the time. And once you do that, you don't have a choice. You're stuck there. So basically, that's why I don't do it. I always work wet, and I learned that basically from this great landscape artist. In my opinion, he's one of the best, Wilson Hurley. I met him in one of his shows in New Mexico, and he told me basically that never work on a dry canvas, always work wet on wet. Even if it's 2 months later when you come back to a painting, always work wet on wet. So, if a great painter like him tells you that, I mean, you listen. And it's funny because I asked him if he could teach me how to paint, and his response was, nope. And I said, oh, hell. I mean, not all artists are nice, you ask for help, and, that's kind of the response you get. But what he meant by that is that he told me, I can't teach you how to paint, but I can teach you technique. Then it's up to you, what you do with that. So basically, yeah, I understood that, yeah. So in other words, nobody can teach you how to paint. They can teach you technique. It's up to you what you do with that. And basically that's what he meant by that, and I understood. Yeah, it looks much better now. Now it has depth of field, which is what was missing before. Before it was like a wallpaper. That's the only way I can describe it. It was lacking. And it's hard to tell when the painting is really wet and you're adding stuff to it. It's really hard to tell at what stage you're in. And that's the only part that is bad about, well, not bad, but it's the only part that's confusing about plein air painting. You're out there, the light is changing, and then you have a wet canvas that looks wonderful because, of course, the paints are all wet. And I use liquid also when I go out plein air painting. So, the paints are really bright and beautiful. But at the same time, sometimes it's hard to see, at least for me, it's hard to see, how the values are when it's so wet. Once it dries, it's so much better. But yeah, I love to wait and see how something looks, and it's kind of sad because this is a plein air now. I'm adding paint to it, so I don't know if it's still a plein air now since I went in and added studio time to it. But I'd rather do that than not do that and have a painting that is not 100% what I want it to be. I don't know how else to explain it, but I'm not going to be satisfied with something that I see that can be fixed if I don't go back and fix it, and that's the whole thing. This one was one of them. I mean, basically, there was no way that I could just let it go. I had to go back and fix it. And sometimes it's bad. I have a friend that, excuse me, every time I go in and try to fix a painting, no, stop, don't touch it, you always mess him up. And at the same time, I have to touch him because technically, I do not want a painting that I feel could benefit from fixing what I see that technically is not correct, right? And that's basically what I'm doing with this. I mean, I already know that this is not 100% what I wanted. We have an issue with it. I'm gonna go back and fix it. So, but yeah, I run the chance of so-called messing it up, so be it. If I do, well, what can I say, right? I'll let it dry and try to fix it again. All right, I'm really liking how it's looking now. I think it was a good idea to go into it. Like I said, sometimes I regret it. Well, not this time. This time I'm really satisfied with how it looks now. So, of course, now I'm gonna have to wait until it dries again to be able to make sure that everything that I wanted is there, even though it's not solid wet, and I can actually see what I'm doing. So I'm pretty much all right. Well, I'm pretty much happy with it now. So I'm gonna stop right there and see. I'm gonna self-evaluate the painting and see how it works out. So, but I see distance now. I don't see just what I described as a wallpaper in the back. I mean, it was, like I said, it was something that when I was racing painting outside, I really didn't figure out what's going on. There were some branches here too, and I have them in a photo. So there's, in this area right here, there was, some branches. I'm gonna put those in, but I have to find the photo to see, how they looked. The plein air, I think the plein air had them. So basically, I'm gonna go back and find that plein air in the studio one also. So I gotta go through it. But basically, I'm happy with it. So thank you for watching, guys, and have a great Sunday.